For most competitors, the season is over once the postseason begins. But for the best of the best, that's when the real fun starts. And though racing has seen this before in the form of the NASCAR chase and then the playoffs, it's never been something quite like this. 3 rounds, 3 tracks, and 3 different cars, all to whittle down 50 drivers to one. We'll see who takes it all as we get ready to watch the Majors playoffs, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth tonight is Nick Schmeg. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Our adventure begins down under at one of the most demanding road courses in the world. To learn a little bit more about Bathurst, let's check out our track guide. Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrod Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Brock's Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest's Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today. Well, there you can see some of the beautiful sights that you have around the mountain. But Nick, for this first round, we're essentially going back to what the Majors is all about, mimicking real-world races. And GT3s at Bathurst is kind of like the 12 hours at Bathurst that we've got today.
Absolutely, and just like the Bathurst 12-hour, we're starting in the early morning. It's a little bit more light outside than it often is in real life, but Bathurst is a track that really puts these GT3 cars and these Majors Series drivers to the ultimate test. They start on the down towards the ocean, but they're going to be driving uphill, up the mountain here, the very daunting, challenging mountain that gets very twisty and curvy towards the top of the hill. That's all easy. Once you get down the hill, that's when the roadblocks start to pop up. You have, sharp turns, you have chicanes, you have hairpins that you got to get through. We often see a roadblock up there, and they're going to have to watch out for that. Once you get through that, it's a draft fest with these cars. You got to make sure you keep all four tires on the gray stuff. You should be good. It's a 25-minute race, and right now only a few drivers are going to be going home. We'll talk about that more later, but yeah, Bathurst with the GT3s, these cars look right at home here, Joe.
Absolutely. Should be pretty fun for the drivers. In fact, let's go over some of those race details here for round one. We are going to have 3 rounds, and we'll talk about that in more detail. But this specific one, it's 6 different GT3 cars that they're allowed to choose from, including the new Lamborghini Evo that was just introduced recently to the service. It's a 25-minute race, as Nick mentioned, and it's also fixed setups. That's not something that you see very often here in the Majors, at least in the regular season. Well, you never see it in the regular season, but today here in the playoffs, they don't really want people to try and find an advantage in that sense, and mostly for fun out here today, so hence the fixed setups. And only the top 25 will be going through to the second round. So it is actual playoffs here today in these 3 rounds, and you have to make the cutoff today. And what is this all for as we watch them warm up? Well, it's for charity. And the reason that this is so important throughout the season, if you've been watching the majors, you're aware. If you haven't, they have a charity each race that they raise money for through various means and encourage viewers to come in and try and donate to as well. Well, in this case, the top 10 in the pro split from round 3, so once this is all over and the final top 10 are determined, get to choose their choice of charity that will be donated to for season 2021. And then the top 3 in the sportsman, which we're of course not covering, this is just the pro split here, will get to choose a charity as well for next season, so that all rounds will be spoken for. And that is what I think is awesome, as we see Ross Banfield there. You can see on the screen the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is his choice. They have to determine their choice before today's event and put that into the pot, essentially. But Sarge's place is going to be Ryan Steele's, of course, the Dog Bear team, known for using that as one of their charities season in and season out many times over the years here. But as we continue to watch them warm up here in the cool rising sun in Australia, Nick, I'm excited to see how this plays out, because just like it's, as we have typical in the majors, it's 3 very different disciplines that they're going to have to face down to make it to the top.
Yeah, that's what the major series is all about. We've got, all season long with the majors, you get all of these famous races, whether it's, they start in Daytona. They have the 2.4 oftentimes, then they go to the 500 there, which is already a vast difference. That trend continues throughout the season. You get a little bit of IndyCar action, you get some dirt action, which we're going to see later on today, and we'll even see some short track action as we take the super late models to 5 flags here after this. So just like the major series demands of you, you got to be good at pretty much everything, not just one type of racing. And we're seeing that normally it's throughout the whole season. Today, it's been condensed into one day.
Yep, and hopefully the drivers won't be too tired from that. Now, we were talking about 25 managing to advance. Now, they have up to 50 drivers that can show. Not everybody necessarily will be here today, so as you can see, our time and scoring right now has about 30 of them that have taken to the track. Still, that will mean 5 people at this point are expected to go home. If any more show up, we'll try and keep you up to date. If we have more that we'll try and make it around 25 minutes as well. Nick, that's going to be a real sprint race around here. The laps are not short at this track.
No, they're not. I mean, this is a 3.8 mile track, almost 4 miles really. It takes a while for these cars to get around. Of course, they, like you said, though, they're only fighting for the top 25, and right now we've got, I think, 31 drivers signed up and registered to go for this first event of the day. So you're not going to have to make up 25 positions in a race. You're only going to have to make up 6, at the most if you start at the back. The problem, Joe, is that you see so much attrition here at Bathurst, especially on those opening laps, whether it's some problems going up the hill, like we see Ryan Steele right now, or David Hall here, or, once you get to the top of the mountain and you start coming down those public roads up there, you get those roadblocks that you see all the time here, and you're not going to want to get trapped back there because you're only going to have 25 minutes to make it up.
Yeah, if we want a good onboard going over the mountain, Ryan Steele's just starting into Griffin's Bend right now. He's in the number 12 car, and that's one of our McLaren MP4 12C GT3s. Let's see if we can watch from his perspective. You can see how steep it is right here. What's interesting is this is the oldest of the GT3 cars here on iRacing, and they've got the new Lamborghini. So the newest and oldest are making themselves here in today's race. And so many blind corners as well, especially along this portion here, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just got to trust that the drivers in front of you are going to call out an accident or something, or unless you have a spotter. But right here especially, you just have to drop in. It's like a roller coaster down there. And you finally get down to the bottom, this hard left-hander, and you got to not only survive through there, but you got to accelerate well. So you can head down the chase here. This is a prime passing spot, especially for these GT3 cars.
Those of you who are wondering how they're going to set the grid without a qualifying, because you can see that they're still doing warm-up here. Their grid is set for this first round by how they finished in points. Now, I know there's a lot of different regions, but they've sorted people on total points, which across the board is relatively a good marker of how you performed. And then, of course, in the remaining races, they will grid them according to where they finish in the previous race. So there is impetus to do better than just cruising around to 25th here today, as especially next round going to be a short track oval. Passing will be extremely difficult there, I am sure. So trying to find that track position here at Bathurst could pay dividends down the line. So watching Dean Mole, currently 12th in our warm-up times, running in the Ferrari 488 GT3 currently. And 25 of our drivers seem to have gotten times in. So we got at least a decent idea of where most of them sit in terms of their pace, even though they won't be gridded according to that.
And it's no surprise to see the names we do see up top. Christian Challoner and Dallas Pataska 1 and 2 right now, by quite a wide margin too. Harold Stadler 7/10 back from Pataska.
Yep, this is all three regions. They have the Americas, the European region, and the international region, which is kind of a catch-all from everything Asia over to Australia to the Pacific, where the rest of the world kind of fit together in that time zone. Ross Banfield currently sitting in 6th in that 777. Another bit of a blast from the past. This is the 4GT GT3 that he is in. Jonathan Bain currently sitting in 16th, finishing up the lap and squeezing through some cars, having to get across the track and out of the way. Just about 2 minutes left here for our warm-up. And one more thing that we should mention too. The other thing that is on the board here today, this contest will establish which drivers in each region will be locked into the top split for the first 4 races in 2021. The reason that's important is because you have to qualify in to each race in the majors. However, they have a few dispensations just to keep things interesting, including obviously here these drivers managing to lock themselves in with a good performance in the playoffs. And then from there on out, you have to be high up in the championship points in 2021 to be locked in for the remainder of the season. Here it's Harold Statler, who's got himself up to 4th and hailing from Diach, so one of our European split drivers coming around to just get one more flying lap in. It's David Hall coming down to Murray's corner and towards the line. The Mercedes AMG GT3s tended to be a popular choice among drivers, known, Nick, from what I understand, to be a pretty stable car.
Yeah, it sure is. And with all these different cars out here, I'm surprised that the top performing Mercedes is actually just in 5th place. Oldest Puteklis and Eric Smith just put his Mercedes up in P6. Before that, the next fastest one was Daniel Stevens down in 11th. So the Mercedes seeming to struggle here just a little bit against cars like the Lamborghini.
Another one of our 4GTs. But yeah, the Lamborghini showing quite well. 4GT as well. Ross Banfield just put his into 4th. And here's Brian McGreevy. Not quite as high as that. He's still sitting in 24th. And he gets the checkered flag. That's it for our drivers in the warm-up. Now we head to our grid for the day. On the pole, it's going to be Christian Challoner, followed by Steve Driscoll in 2nd and Cameron Dance in P3. Ross Banfield starts in 4th. Harold Statler, P5 for him, with Daniel Stevens in 6th and Riley Thompson in P7. Dean Mole, good enough for 8th in his points over the course of 2020. Liam Quinn in 9th and Shane Bowen in 10th.
Joshua Wolf and Brian Barnes are going to round out row number 6th, and 13th, 14th, and 15th are going to go to Dallas Pataska very quick in practice today. David Baker and Jeff Schmeier. 16th is going to go to Travis Henderson. Jonathan Bain will take spot number 17 on the grid. Eric Smith, Nick Kuhn, and Ryan Steele will round out your top 20.
Wayne Hutchison starts 21st, then it's David Hall in 22nd. Kevin Hill to the inside of the next row in 23rd, followed by Brian McGreevy in P24. Quarter century mark goes to Adam Halleck with Ray Partridge in 26th and Tom Dreiling in 27th. Uldis Putelis starts in 28th, Andy Banfield 29th, and Ryan Bennett in 30th, with Jason Wallet rounding out of 31 cars that will be taking part in round one. 6 drivers will go home, and Christian Challoner is about to lead the way here at 6 a.m. in the morning here in Bathurst, and the sun continues to rise. Porsche pace car peels in. The 4GT waiting patiently for the green flag. Is he going to take off as soon as he's out of Murray's? He holds him up a little bit. Now he goes. Green flag is out, and Challoner is off to his outside. Driscoll in his Lamborghini, not the best of starts. He falls back a little bit and is already susceptible to Cameron Dance to his inside, trying to take that second place away. Not able to get through. Behind him, it is all clean.
Challoner's not going to quite clear Driscoll yet. He's going to be coming up right side by side with him up the mountain straight. Now Challoner's going to have a little help from Cameron Dance. He's even going to give him a little bit of a shove as they head downhill for just a moment. Dance is going to lose 3rd place to Ross Banfield as they continue to make their way up the mountain.
Almost making contact between Driscoll and Challoner, but Driscoll does get the position through Griffin's Bend. Challoner down to P2. Cameron Dance holds on to 3rd as Ross Banfield is now in 4th position. They're pretty much all single file, a wise choice from everybody coming up into the mountain section.
And all clean all throughout the field, even down where it matters most, 25th and back. See a little bit of damage, but not too bad back there.
So Driscoll coming over Skyline for the first time as they plunge back downhill. We have our first incident with Jeff Schmeier as he spun off track. I think it's a single car incident. I don't see anybody else involved in that one. Thank goodness for that on the first lap on the mountain, which is known for being plugged up by wrecks. Down and through Forest Elbow. Go ahead.
Got some more problems with Wayne Hutchison this time as they continue to go downhill.
Brian Bennett also involved in it. We'll try to get back to that a little bit later. Christian Challoner's got the slipstream on our leader, Steve Driscoll. He's pulling up to him as they come up to the chase. Is he going to be able to make something happen, though? As they come to the braking into this tricky chicane, Challoner's going to be the outside in the white Ford, and he's going to be able to overtake the green Lamborghini of Steve Driscoll back up into the lead.
Here comes Cameron Dance. He's joined him. This is a trio now for the lead. They make their way through final corner through Murray's and back onto the front straightaway.
Ross Banfield still holding down 4th behind them. Driscoll takes a little bit of a peek to the inside into Hell Corner, and he's going to get another good launch as they start to climb up Mountain Straight. Apologies for losing picture. We'll get that back very soon. I can tell you, though, that Challoner is holding the inside of Griffin's Bend. He learned his lesson last time, and Driscoll is halfway alongside him. They aren't to the braking yet. It picks up speed. Now they get onto the binders, and Driscoll's going to be able to slot back in line, so your order is still Challoner, Driscoll, Dance, and Banfield in the top 4. When Thompson's around in Griffin's Bend, Thompson, unfortunately, has his Lamborghini facing the wrong way, and he's got very little room to get turned around, so he is falling well down the order.
Like he got tagged from Liam Quinn as they made their way uphill through, yeah, right there up the hill, like he said.
That is not good news for him because, again, he has to meet the cutoff to get to round 2. Thompson's another good one in the oval races, so all he has to do is survive this one. Meanwhile, our top 4, a big lockup through the dipper for Steve Driscoll. They're hitting the bottom of the mountain portion and starting to plunge back down along the downhill straight. Conrad now picking up speed. Cameron Dance in 3rd, still chasing Driscoll. Driscoll losing touch, 0.6 of a second between himself and Challoner.
Riley Thompson has fallen back to 27th. He's not out of it yet. There were 4 drivers who found themselves in the pits after the first lap with damage, so Riley Thompson still looking like he can fight his way back into this.
Looks like Wayne Hutchison and Kevin Hill just exiting the pits now, almost going a full lap down, unfortunately. But we could still see a few more drop out as they cross the line. Challoner leads, Driscoll's second, Cameron Dance third. Banfield starting to fall away. He's about a full second behind our podium positions. They are pulling along Harold Statler, who currently sits in fifth. And Dallas Pataska, despite his pace in the warm-up, has not been able to do much. He's well behind, about 5 seconds back in sixth. Behind him, a car goes off. Daniel Stevens loses multiple positions there.
Yeah, it looks like Steven's going to be able to right his wrongs there. That's good news for him. He started up in sixth. He doesn't want to fall down too much more. You mentioned Dallas Pataska, Joe. He's actually started way back in 13th. He's had a phenomenal couple of opening laps here.
He's made his way pretty far up. Hearing some issues from Jason Wallet. I'm not sure that looks like he had a couple offs and he's fallen down to 27th. He is below the cutoff now. That moves Thompson back up to 25th, which means he is just squeaking through if things stay as they are. Boy, Challoner's really finding his legs now. He's a full second ahead of Dance as they go through the dipper, but he's coming upon traffic for the first time. Wayne Hutchison just in front of him. That could always throw a wrench into things.
Yeah, Hutchison, after problems on lap one, riding down in 31st. That's all the way down at the end of the running order. Looks like he's going to slide over to the right here to let Challoner go by. This might be a bigger problem for Cameron Dance, though.
It doesn't look like Dance going to be able to get that Lamborghini past the Mercedes before the chase. Indeed, he could get held up a little bit. Oh, no, Wayne Hutchison, very heads up, saw him coming, let him through with ease. So Dance lost nothing. It's still 0.8 of a second between our top two.
Challoner getting a little sideways out of Murray's. Maybe that Ford not handling as well as he'd like to.
Right now,
well enough though.
Just to keep you up to date on the cutoff, Riley Thompson is the last one to get through. David Baker is in 26 and actually not very far behind. Make that 24th for Thompson. Andy Banfield just got overtaken into the chase. And actually Baker almost took advantage of it with Banfield's momentum interrupted. Boy, ahead of them, there's quite a fight as Thompson, Josh Wolf, and Tom Dreiling are all squabbling for those positions too.
Yeah, even after some lap one attrition, it's coming right down to a two-car battle for now. Banfield and Baker fighting for that last spot. Baker's got a little bit of front end damage, so he might have to stick in the toe here and hope for the best. Behind him, like you said, Wallet and Bain, they seem to be working together to maybe try to catch up and close that gap as well.
Oh, and Shane Bowen's in a really bad spot. I think it's out of the cutting. He is sideways there, and it looks like a single car incident as he desperately tries to get turned around without wrecking anybody else. It pushes him down to 19th before he can get going, and looks like he's going to lose even more. Yeah, David Hall goes by, and now Ray Partridge is able to eke through before the number 7 is back up to pace.
And Josh Wolf trying to close in with on him for another spot. Wolf is trying to hold off Riley Thompson right now, 23rd and 24th they run. They'd like a little more comfort back there.
Certainly looks like it. And our cutoff still has Andy Banfield in 26. David Baker now the last one to get through. Up at the top of the field, we haven't reported on it recently, but I can tell you it's 0.3 of a second between Challoner and Dance. Dance not quite near enough to overtake the Brit. This is Australia, or excuse me, not Australia, this is New Zealand, excuse me, versus the UK right here for our lead battle. Christian Challoner, the champion over in the Americas region, and Cameron Dance winning out in the international region. Boy, he's keeping them honest though here, Nick, as they come up out of Griffins once more. He is about a car length behind.
And he sure is keeping him honest. And I think Dance, he's really starting to get his footing here, because you see Challenger kind of slide a little bit through these turns. And Challenger's got some fantastic car control, of course, being a champion in the Major Series, but Dance is just looking really confident, headed over these bumps and crests and blind turns in that Lamborghini behind him.
And we should point out that Challenger was the first to be a double champion in the Americas region, as we come back to live pictures now. And as we're watching some of our drivers work their way up towards the cutting. This is actually towards the back of the cutoff. You can see Thompson, Wolf, Baker in there, and David Hall a little bit in the background in the number 10. Then you have to go back about 2 seconds to get to Andy Banfield, who is the last one through right now in 25th.
Oh, Dance looks like he's making a move for the lead.
Down to the inside of the chase. Oh, tries
contact
to cut back. Challenger didn't time it right, and he's going to get into the back of that Lamborghini.
See if he's got anything for him through Murray's. He's definitely going to close the gap on the pit straight. He's definitely going to have that big draft heading up the mountain. He might try to get around him before that and into Hell Corner. He's going to have the lead here there.
So Christian Challenger back up to the front now. As on screen, we're watching the fight between Butkelis and Brian Barnes. Looks like someone had an issue. Nope, that's the lapped car of Wayne Hutchison that they just went by. Whoa, down to the inside. Brian Barnes caught napping as Uldis moves that 666 up into 11th with a sneaky move at Hell Corner.
And back up Conrad straight away. Dance got by Challenger. He retains the lead all while this midfield battling was happening.
So Challenger still fighting back and forth. Those two do have to be careful. I'm sure they're having fun, but they don't want to wreck out, because they've easily got themselves through to the end. As they come over the crest, down past McPhillamy and into Skyline. There you can see the black and gray of Cameron Dance up at the front. He sees traffic in front of him. Kevin Hill is up there. Will this also play a part? Both of them really pushing it out to the edge out of Forest Elbow, getting it right up to the wall. Down Conrad, Cameron Dance easily going to be able to get by. Hill sees him coming. He's going to lift and let the leaders by.
Bain able to get by Banfield for 25th as well. That's big for Banfield, big for Bain as well, of course. That would put him in the show temporarily about halfway through the race here.
So as they come out of Murray's, our leaders continue to fight back behind them. We take a glance at Harold Statler. Oh, and a problem for Liam Quinn out of the chase. The number 16 unfortunately got overtaken by Eric Smith and then spun the car, goosing it too hard. Thankfully still in 12th, so Quinn should be able to make the cut here on round 1. We come back to our leaders. Go ahead.
I think someone behind him just slammed the wall there on the pit straight. I think Adam Halleck is the driver. He might have a little damage, but he's not going to lose too many spots, it doesn't look like.
Yeah, I think you're right. It looks like he went wide at Murray's and flipped the outside wall. So sitting 14th, probably with a little bit of damage now. Watching the fight between the 1 and the 37. 6/10 between them. Ooh, was that a smack into the wall? Did Dance catch it? Or was he safe there?
He's been awfully close. It wouldn't surprise me if he tagged it a little bit.
Go back. Don't think we'll be able to have a replay. Yeah, I think he just narrowly managed to avoid it and maybe grazed it with his little bobble.
See what kind of run Challenger can get down here. This is where he got him last time. or where Dance got him last time, I should say.
Yeah, so can he have the payback here? Can we see Christian Challoner try to get up to the lead? He's got a good slipstream. He's going to look to the inside. Half-hearted defense from Cameron Dance, but he doesn't need the full defense. He's able to get down to the apex before that white Ford GT. Coming down to about 5 laps to go now. Challoner putting immense pressure on, and a spin. The pressure gets to Dance. Oh, but he slows up. This is unusual.
I think he might let him back by. Maybe Challoner thinks he touched him.
We'll have to come back to that later. It's 9th place. Actually, well, no, the lead is going to swap once again, because Cameron Dance is going to be side by side with Christian Challoner, and now they've got Ross Banfield in 3rd, directly behind.
Yeah, Banfield loved that. He won out big on that, side by side in front of him still. Dance on the inside, trying to hold his own. On the outside is Challoner. It's going to switch back in his favor.
This is going to be a tough one, though. As almost slide into the outside wall. Dance's Lambo just flirts with disaster. He finally gets the pass done. This has compromised them greatly. Banfield now right underneath the rear wing of the number 37. And then don't forget Stadler. The 39 is suddenly in the fray. So the lead is now a 4-car fight.
Can't believe Dance held on to that on the outside of the cutting where there is no grip out there. Somehow able to take the lead away from Challoner.
Down through the dipper. They let Kevin Hill by with the two of them slowing up, Dance and Challoner. So now they've got to relap the number 52. It's the green and black car that you see just ahead of them, the Mercedes. Coming back into the chase. Boy, the pace of our top drivers is something else, because in just half a lap, they've left behind Statler, despite the fact that he was on top of them. A spin. That's Kevin Hill getting the car out of the way, thankfully in time, but giving a scare to our top 3.
I see Tom Dreiling stopped on track as well. Up through the cutting, he hadn't off, but he was already in 26th, so shouldn't affect the cutoff too much.
Yeah, right now, Andy Banfield still our last one to make it through. This is a very good run from Christian Challoner. As we jump back to our 25th driver, still eking this one out. Our top 2 side by side. This time it's Christian Challoner on the inside, takes a little bit of curb, and Cameron Dance trying to hold on. That worked out for him last time, fighting this one out, except he was on the other side. Sliding the car out of the cutting. Christian Challoner barely holding on. Dance takes advantage of that loss of traction. He's up to the front, still watching the whole thing from the popcorn position. The 777 of Banfield just waiting for his opportunity.
These two have been flirting with the disaster all race long, and Banfield, he hasn't really been too brave, to try to get up there, and he's caught him, but he hasn't really tried to battle with him. I think he's just playing it safe right now, trying to go on to race number 2 later on. Right now, he's getting a great show as well.
And Pataska, we're getting glimpses of him at the back of this group. He's in a fight with Statler, could get himself into the top 4 on to row 2 for the super late models at Five Flags Speedway.
Oh, and he got it. Look at that.
Yep, easily by the Lambo of Harold Statler. Meanwhile, Cameron Dance with a 0.3 of a second lead over Christian Challoner, coming to complete lap 9 as they tow along the likes of Ross Banfield. Let's see if maybe he tries to get himself a good enough launch that he could truly get into this fight.
Stays pretty steady with them. About 6 minutes left when they cross the line there.
So it's definitely going to be about 3 laps to go. Ooh, he's got a great run. Once again, Challener's Ford really loves these long straights, but a little bit of a lift this time. Maybe he's starting to think towards the end. Think about, how am I going to make the pass without having to hand it right back? His dance has certainly not been laying down and allowing the Brit through without fighting back.
And Dan's actually pulled away from him a little bit up the hill that time. So Challenger can close back in on him.
Through McPhillamy Park. Looks like Ross Banfield may be unable to hold on as closely as he was just a bit ago. He starts to drop to about 1.1 seconds behind our lead duo.
And don't forget, Joe, we're going to have to keep an eye on Tasca potentially closing in on Banfield for P3. He might snag a podium out of this.
Which is really incredible after starting in 13th. He's been one of our hardest chargers for sure. They come down towards the chase. And Cameron Dance doesn't even need to defend. He's a few car lengths ahead. Oh, maybe he does. Christian Challenger takes a little bit of a look, tries to get into his head. He's given space at the apex, but Dance is going to fend him off.
Those Fords do not like those curbs, and Challenger got up on them just a little bit, and that's going to really ruin the rest of his run through as he heads onto the pit straight. He might, and now you see Dance actually go a little bit inside, maybe trying to break a little bit of the toe.
Could be feeling it now.
Yeah.
Under 4 minutes left. So last time, Challenger had a run and backed out of it coming up to Griffin's Bend. So do the same this time. He's reeling him in, takes a little peek, and then comes back into the toe of Cameron Dance. But not as drastic as a run as we saw last time. We have had 2 official retirements. Stryling and Hill are both gone. Wayne Hutchison last running in 29th currently. Actually, the only car lapped down as well. This is about the farthest apart we've seen them for a while. Half a second splitting Challenger and Dance. Banfield 1.2 behind. Pataska has it down to 1.5. I don't know if he has enough race left to try and get himself onto that podium for round 1 here.
Yeah, it does starting to look less and less likely for him. He might need a slide or 2 out of Banfield to close that gap, but Banfield closer to the battle for the lead than Pataska is to the podium. Going to get the 1 to go, which means he's running out of opportunities. I think he's going to have to get a little bit closer if he wants to try and challenge his Kiwi friend. As Dance takes it out of the chase down towards Murray's Corner. That was a much better exit from Challenger. He brings it to within range now. Through Murray's Corner and to the white flag. Challenger has a couple shots at this, but they're going to have to be decisive. Dance got a good run out of turn number 1. Was it good enough, though? Christian Challenger following right in his tire tracks. It's 0.3 of a second between the pair. 0.2 of a second now. Getting closer. Dance doesn't cover him off. Christian Challenger goes to the inside, trying to hold him off through Griffin's Bend, and the Lambo somehow does it. Just amazing stuff. Christian Challenger will get just a few more tries. Can he squeeze anything out of this to take the pole for round 2? Looks like the upper hand currently belongs to the Kiwi as they come over the mountaintop, and it's very hard to pass through this portion. Yeah, Challenger just needs to be clean on top of the mountain to set it up for the downhill. don't think he wants to try anything up here, although he is closing quite a bit.
Yeah, he is definitely within striking range. The question is, can he get the exit out of Forest Elbow? That will be oh so decisive. He falls back through the S's. It seems like he lost a little bit of time, and once again a poor exit, and Dance is looking safer than ever. He started this one from third. He's taken away from the pole sitter. Christian Challenger has the chase and Murray's, and then it is done. As they come up to the braking, he's nowhere near close enough to hope for a pass here. All he can do is try and get the exit, get himself within range into Murray's corner. He does have a good exit. It's going to take a wild dive for him to try and make this one stick, though. Challenger too far back, doesn't go for it. Cameron Dance is going to be your winner here in round one of the Majors playoffs. Challenger second, Ross Banfield with a podium finish. And how about Pataska going from 13th to 4th?
Looks pretty safe back in the top 25. A little bit of a battle for 23rd between Steele and Bennett, but Andy Banfield continues to hold on to that last spot.
Liam Quinn headed off in the chase. I think he'll be able to get through. Banfield, yeah, he's got 6 seconds over Josh Wolf, so not certain that he's going to lose that one. There is Banfield on your screen in the gray number 20 car. First one out, Josh Wolf is going to be embarrassed for sure to just miss out. This is Bennett who we're watching, and the Ferrari, the white and blue machine on your screen. Ryan Steele giving chase. But he's not got enough in it. Out into Murray's. There's your last 3 to make it into round 2. Your eliminations will be Josh Wolf, David Hall, Jason Wallet, Wayne Hutchison, Tom Dreiling, and Kevin Hill, unfortunately. Here is the results of today's race. Cameron Dance won over Christian Challenger with Ross Banfield in 3rd, Dallas Pataska in P4, and then Harold Statler in 5th, Eric Smith P6, and Steve Driscoll in 7th. Uldis Pukelis in 8th, followed by Daniel Stevens in 9th, and Brian Barnes in 10th.
Liam Quinn and Travis Henderson will be 11th and 12th. Then Dean Mole, Adam Halleck, and Nick Kuhn will round out the top 15. Riley Thompson stays alive after a lap 1 incident. He finds himself finishing in 16th. David Baker, Jeff Schmier, Shane Bowen, and Brian McGreevy will round out the top 20.
Then your last ones to go through are Jonathan Bain, Ray Partridge, Brian Bennett, Ryan Steele, and Andy Banfield from 21st to 25th. As we mentioned, Wolf, Hall, Wallet, Hutchison, Dreiling, and Hill, 26 to 31st. We're going to take a quick break here on Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back with more racing as we have 2 rounds to go in the Majors playoffs. Welcome back to Five Flag Speedway. We've just left Mount Panorama, where we watched round one of the Majors playoffs. And one of our podium finishers for that first round was Christian Challenger, who we've brought in with us. Christian, that was a fun little fight between you and Cameron, but it looked like there was, well, we weren't quite sure what caused the little slowdown on the front stretch.
Oh, okay. That was just because he looped it into the last corner, and I was kind of having fun just battling with him, to be honest with you. So I figured if I'd have just kept going, then well, I'm pretty certain I would have won. But it didn't really matter that much to me. I mean, we knew that 25 are going through anyway, so it's more about kind of having fun in that. And I mean, the whole GT3 thing is kind of been partially my project since I started. So it was an opportunity for me to see how they kind of all race together with each other, and I feel pretty good about that actually after that, because obviously the Ford is kind of one of our oldest GT3 cars, the Lamborghini is our newest GT3 car, and they seem like they raced together pretty well right there, and that was fun to be able to do that. I've seen a couple of people seem to think the Ford's a little bit behind, and don't really see anything there that suggests that was the case. We had two of them in the top three right there, so hopefully that pushes people to maybe give that car a bit of a go again. It is a little bit of a unique driving style. It does have its own drawbacks, but it does have its own strengths as well, as you can kind of see right there. It's pretty strong on the brakes and whatnot, and actually pretty easy to drive. So I would definitely encourage people to try that one again. But yeah, that was mainly all it was. It was just I wanted to continue the battle because it was a fun time, and hopefully the next race, Five Flags, will be the same in the Super.
No doubt about that. We're looking forward to seeing how everybody transitions over to a short oval. Now, of course, you competed on the oval side with the Coca-Cola series. So, are you expecting to fare just as well here, or because this is slightly different from the Cup cars, will this be not quite your bailiwick?
I quite like Five Flags, and I quite like it in the Super as well. So it should go pretty well. I'm hopeful of at least transferring through. I don't know if necessarily we'll be contending to win the race. I haven't really had a chance to get much laps in and at this place at all. So that's definitely going to probably hold me back a little bit. I tend to run the track a little bit differently than most, and it has its drawbacks, especially on the short run speed, and we've only got 50 laps. So it's probably not going to be my greatest oval performance, I have to say that, but I'm just going to really be out there trying to make sure I advance through and have some fun. I've got to be honest and say I don't really have any prospects of winning this, because I am absolutely horrendous in the dirt midget, and I'm even worse when we're doing it at a track as small as a chili bowl. So if I can get through to the final, then that's pretty much probably my limit tonight.
That seems like a fair goal, although it's weird to hear someone as dominant as you not look for anything more than complete domination. Do you think this is a little bit harder because you've got all three regions coming together?
I think it's interesting because obviously I've raced with Cam before, back in I think 2018. He was in the Americas region at that point, so I had some memories of racing against him, and I knew he was obviously pretty quick and obviously dirt pro. So we know that he's not a slow driver, and I remember that he was extremely strong in the dirt race that we did that year. As well as obviously being strong on other tracks as well. So that was also partially why I kind of wanted to keep that battle going, because I was able to go up against a driver that I knew his obviously extremely good quality, and kind of get an idea of how the cars performed against each other, and you don't really get that opportunity very often. So that was another reason to kind of check up and continue the fight, so to speak. But I think, to be honest, if Cam gets through the supers without being in any kind of wreck or anything like that, then I think this is pretty much his. I think he's going to have the chili bowl on lock.
Yeah, I can imagine everybody's probably a little deflated once they heard that Cam was taking part here today. Well, Christian, thanks for coming and talking to us. And I suppose hopefully we'll see you up front, get to talk to you a little bit more between the pair. And again, thank you for all your hard work on the GT3s. They look like they're a lot of fun together now.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'll jump back in after the supers.
All right, that was Christian Challenger, second place in the first round of our 3-round playoffs here in the majors. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be back with round 2. Don't go away for more action here on GSRC. Welcome back to Five Flags Speedway. We're getting ready to watch round 2 of the Majors playoffs. This is going to be a completely different track from what we had before. So, to give you an idea of what the drivers are up against, let's head down to our track guide.
Welcome to Five Flags. This half-mile paved oval opened in 1953. Five Flags Speedway takes its name from its proximity to Pensacola, Florida. Pensacola, Florida is known as the City of Five Flags, which references the fact that it is 5 governments that have ruled the city. Five Flags is one of the fastest short tracks in America, thanks in part to its 15 degrees of banking and the wide turns that give the track a nearly circular configuration. You never have a chance to rest at Five Flags with the speeds that you carry and the close quarters that you always find yourself in. Five Flags is also very bumpy. Managing the bumps is one of the keys to victory here. Turn 1 is tricky. You carry a lot of momentum off of turn 4, and you have to try to roll the car down and get down into the corner. And the fastest way around the track is about 4 inches away from that pit wall. Things happen fast at Five Flags, with most of the lap times averaging around the 16-second mark. Fast track, fast cars, amazing action. All of these are what Five Flags is known for, and just the type of racing that you are going to see today. So stay tuned, buckle in, and enjoy the race.
You see a little bit about this track, but Nick, super late models here. This feels pretty appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we are in the heart of the Panhandle in Florida, in Pensacola. And this is Five Flags Speedway. This is as traditional as it gets for American short oval racing under the lights on a Saturday night. Five Flags, known for one thing and one thing only, that is the Snowball Derby. Like Christian was mentioning before we went to break, it's held every December, and it is the biggest super late model race of the year. Some would even say it's the biggest race of the year in American oval racing. But, you know, the cool thing about the Snowball Derby is that it brings out huge names because it is in the NASCAR offseason. We just saw recently, just really a few days ago, names like Chase Elliott and Kyle Busch come out to the Snowball Derby, but they couldn't even win because they had to go up against the best of the best super late model drivers like, you know, the Bubba Pollards and this year's winner, Ty Majeski, finally getting it done. So, obviously, what we're trying to recreate today, something like that. They're not going to have to go 300 laps, only 50 today, but still, the competitiveness is sure going to be there today in the majors.
Yeah, in fact, let's take a look at those details. Of course, that's round 3. There we go. We've got Five Flag Speedways. And the super late model, that is a very fast, low-slung oval short track car. If you're not familiar, you can try it here on iRacing. And as was mentioned, 50 laps. Sounds like a lot compared to what we did before with only 25 minutes. But you have to remember that they're doing about 16-second laps around here. Another one where it is fixed setup, so you just hop in the car and try to go fast. And then only the top 15 can advance this time. So we are eliminating 10 cars in this round. But we've gone from light, nimble GT3 cars and very tight confines around a fast track to a very wide track and somewhat heavy stock cars. I mean, what kind of mental reset do you think these drivers are going through, Nick, that they'll have to adjust for today?
Yeah, it's a big one, and there's a big name right there, Christian Challoner, who is oftentimes pretty dominant on the oval, of course, being an eNASCAR professional driver here on iRacing, but you have a lot of other names out there as well that are more familiar with the road course. Their skill over there helps them to advance to this round number 2, and you know, it's going to be different for every driver. Some drivers more comfortable here. They were just trying to breeze past at Bathurst to get here and really have their shot to wind up in the final round. Other drivers were the opposite. They are kind of dreading the oval races here. I think once you've made the top 50 in the majors, though, you're pretty confident anywhere that provides some good racing.
This one is close to my heart. We saw there Travis Henderson for the ASPCA as an animal lover. That one is, I'm really kind of hoping Travis does well then so that we can get that in there. the McMillian Cancer Support for Liam Quinn. I think Liam's a likely candidate for being within the top 10, as he's another oval guy, though usually in a different sort of open wheels from what we have with the midget. Up next, he tends to be fast in the IndyCar. We'll see if the roots of IndyCar racing will allow him to perform well there. Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America for Eric Smith, who currently holds 5th in the timing. We've gone a complete opposite of what we had before, too. The temperatures going up slightly with the sunrise before, and now with about 87 degrees Fahrenheit, starting kind of warm. And it's 7 p.m. virtual standard time in Florida.
Yeah, it should pretty much even out these tires out there. The track's going to get grippier, and the tires are going to go away as it heads into the nighttime. Race coming up here in just a few seconds as the checkered flag waves on this warm-up session.
Absolutely. Now, if you're just joining us, we'll go quickly over the grid, but this is how they finished at the last race among the top 25. So, Cameron Dance will start on the pole, and Christian Challenger will be to his outside. Ross Banfield will be in P3, while Dallas Pataska will start in 4th. Harold Statler starts P5, and Eric Smith in 6th. Steve Driscoll, one to watch out for on the oval stuff, starts 7th. Uldis Putkles starts 8th, and Daniel Stevens 9th. Brian Barnes rounds out the top 10.
Liam Quinn and Travis Henderson will make up row number 6. Row 7 is going to go to Dean Mole and Nick Kuhn. Riley Thompson, after an early spin at Bathurst, finds himself here P15 at 5 flags. David Baker is going to start alongside him in the 33 car in 16th place. Jeff Schmier, Shane Bowen, Brian McGreevy, and Jonathan Bain will round out the top 20.
21st goes to Ray Partridge with Brian Bennett in 22nd, Ryan Steele in 23rd. Andy Banfield's 24th, and now we thought that Josh Wolf would not advance, but I suppose someone has given their spot up to him. Looks like Halleck unfortunately had some scheduling conflicts, can't make it to this second one. Wolf gets lucky. They'll have 2 pace laps, and then we will go to green. Important to point out as well, while caution laps will be on, they have no lucky dog here today.
It's definitely going to be tough. They're going to have to stay clean early on to stay consistent. They don't want to lose spots early because it's going to be hard to make them up. If you're on the lead lap with 10:20 to go, you're looking a lot better.
Yeah, it's only a half-mile course, so going a lap down will be easy, and those cautions will put you under the gun in a big way. So even though you have that spare car, you certainly want to keep yourself out of trouble for these 50 laps here at 5 flags. Pace car is in. Dance has control. And away he goes. Very good jump over the 37 of Christian Challenger. Top 3 already single file side by side between Eric Smith and the 32 and Banfield in the 77. Little bobble, but still the 777 is able to sneak into 4th. Oh, we already got a spin.
That's Smith.
Gonna get a few cars involved. Everybody tries to scatter, and in the back, unfortunately, yet more fall victim. So that started with the 32 of Smith, just getting a small tip from, I think, Statler.
It was Statler, and Eric Smith, he was kind of battling with the car in front of him. Ross Banfield, he was stuck on the outside of turn number 3. You're gonna see him duck back down into the bottom lane. Just gets tapped.
Quinn with a miraculous escape in the number 20, sneaking to the inside. There's that oval experience for him, paying dividends. We're going to watch from onboard Liam's perspective. He starts up high and somehow manages to sneak down low. I don't know how he goes all the way across the track like that and still doesn't hit anything.
Yeah, a lot of times on bigger ovals, up high is where you want to go, but Liam Quinn read that situation really well, found a gap, and here he is with a pretty clean-looking car on lap number 3 as we ride under caution.
Seeing a lot of tire tracks, unfortunately, out of turn 4 now. And as you would expect, we're already getting a few drivers heated from that one. No matter how much they tried to get on the radio to warn about the wreck, a few piled in, and made it worse after it could have been only a 2 or 3 car incident. They should restart. I believe it is double file that they will get back out there. Interestingly, I do not see anybody who's come in to take their fast repair, so must have been just small, light hits for everybody.
Yeah, these cars can withstand quite a bit of damage. Of course, you don't want to get a lot of damage early on, but some of these drivers might want to just stay on the lead lap and try to suck it up as much as possible just because they want to stay in that top 15 or in contention at least.
Restarting in second on board with Christian Challenger. One thing I love about these cars is the simplicity of them. 4 gauges, that's all you need, and you're good to go. So, no big array of buttons or crazy hybrid systems, just your right foot and your steering wheel. And the right foot is strong for Cameron Dance as he gets another jump, and Dallas Pataska caught Christian Challenger napping this time. The 37 falls back to third on that restart as the top 3 start to separate themselves from the pack.
They try to all get single file down onto that bottom line. Preferred around here at 5 Flags. Looks like the top 8 or 9 are going to be able to do that. Still side by side behind them.
On the bubble is Brian McGreevy in 15th, and in fact the 68 is on the low side, so he's in the safe spot. Might be able to get himself into a safer position, as there you see Dean Mole in the number 31, the blue and white car, kind of in a bad place. He's going to want to duck down and keep the bleeding from getting worse, as we've already got Dallas Pataska ahead of Cameron Dance.
He dove it down in there in turn number 3, and he was able to have it side by side in turn number 4. He's got the lead now, and now Cameron Dance, he is stuck on the outside, because that is Christian Challenger underneath him trying to take away second spot.
Can he get it done, though? He's pinched down onto the low side. Usually a little more desirable here at 5 Flags. Takes him a couple laps, though, and now the 37's into P2. Cameron Dance gets back down low. Behind them, the 777 of Ross Banfield trying to keep touch and see if he can get any higher. Ray Partridge is our first driver out, as David Baker is now on the bubble in 15th.
Very tight all through the field. There you see that fight for spot number 15. They've got some battling behind him as contact is going to be made. Baker's going to set sideways. We're surely going to have our second caution here.
And it's very big hits for the likes of Baker and Riley Thompson. Somehow no caution. They stay green. Boy, Thompson got a big lick, and Baker got just pinged around like a ping pong ball.
Yeah, Baker was up almost all 4 wheels off the ground at one point. That is not going to be not going to bode well for him. He's going to lose a lot of time, especially staying green here.
So it is currently 0.6 of a second between Pataska and Challenger. 5 more tenths between Dance and Challenger. And then Banfield is almost a full second back. He's got a whole bunch of cars down his neck as well. Harold Statler in there, along with Steve Driscoll, with Uldis in the 666, trying to make sure that he has to work hard for this spot. You can look back and see the string of competitors there from the onboard.
It is now Brian McGreevy on the bubble in 15th. He's got a nice cushion back to Dean Mole for now. Keep an eye on that.
Oh, I'm surprised, Josh. Whoa! And car getting sideways. That was not Driscoll, but I think he tipped him. It was Stadler who catches it. We got a caution, though.
Behind him, it's Daniel Stevens sideways, nosing it into the inside barrier.
I think he got some help from Travis Henderson.
Sure did. They were battling for 11th place. They were both safe here, battling for 10th, actually.
Henderson couldn't get the car wound up and kept shoving the side of that car. Just making matters worse. I was just about to say Josh Wolf visited pit lane, and I'm not sure why. That's put him a lap down, so it's highly unlikely that we'll see Wolf go through. And I was just kind of curious about his progress. At one point, I think he had managed to make it up to 20th, but it seems to have stopped there. He had to have taken a spare car, so maybe the damage worse than he anticipated from some of the opening incidents. Riley Thompson going to have to take his. He will stay on the lead lap, but now he's got a lot of cars to pass, about 23, well, not 23 of them, I guess technically about 9 to get where he needs to be.
And that was a big gamble from Josh Wolf. It probably would have paid off had we stayed green, at least if other drivers in front of him had been able to take to the pits. But that's probably what he was anticipating, is that he wasn't able to come down and get that fast repair under caution.
Yeah, if he had waited a couple more laps, he would have been okay.
So he took that gamble, didn't pay off.
David Baker going to take his spare car, it appears, because he's down. And remember, he was the one that got shoved around, but we didn't get a caution. Yep.
Yeah, if you're down on power just the slightest bit, we've got 30 laps to go. That could go green, and we could see a couple more cautions. It's just because of that uncertainty. If you're down on power at all, or down on any kind of pace, you've got to come in now, I think, and get that fast repair. You just don't know when your next opportunity is going to be.
Let's see, are we going double file this time? No, it looks like the lights are still on the pace car. I don't think we'll get to our time limit. We do have a limit on this race at 50 minutes. We've had some pretty good racing, frankly. It's been relatively clean. We unfortunately just didn't get a few cautions with some of the incidents out there. But fantastic stuff, and some actually really respectful side-by-side driving we've seen too.
Yeah, it's been great stuff in both of these races. Seen hard, close racing. Saw a little bit of contact in Bathurst. Of course, seeing a little bit of contact now in Five Flags.
To be expected, short track racing. All right, now we're going to get double file. And we're just about at the halfway point in this race. Temperature is staying pretty steady at about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, even though we're pretty much all completely in the shade at this point. But we got a lot of cars on track. So Pataska has control. He's going to go very early. Green flag is out. This time Challenger manages to hold on to second. Cameron Dance easily into third. Banfield, though, Ross finds himself challenged a little bit by Driscoll. Driscoll's going to try and get his nose down in there. He's got the underside away from him, but we've got a caution before he can do anything. And that looks like, Eric Smith, who's upside down.
He took a huge shot on the backstretch. Brian McGreevy is also involved in this. I think Smith thought he was clear, tried to get up against the wall, and he found himself up against the wall, but is not in the way he'd like to be.
This will absolutely put him a lap down. I guess good news for Josh Wolf then. He just needs 8 more cars to go a lap down.
Yeah, and because Eric Smith landed on his lid there, he's going to have to take a tow. That's going to hurt him. Even though he does get a fast repair, it's going to take him 2 or 3 minutes to get back to pit road.
All right, we've officially hit the halfway point now. Your leaders are still Pataska, Challenger, Dance, Banfield, and Driscoll. Car on the bubble is Ray Partridge in 15th. Shane Bowen is the one behind him, looking to get that 1 spot back. It is really incredible, though, seeing the amount of talent for our drivers out here. Cancer Council Australia looks to be Shane Bowen's charity that he hopes to make for next season. But he's going to have to work a little bit harder to get them on the board. Right now, Ray Partridge in the 88 is vying for Sarge's place. One of our dog bear drivers. Easy to spot, simple paint scheme. They almost always rock.
How about Brian Bennett making his way up to the field? He started 22nd. He was fighting on the bubble and Bathurst. He finds himself doing the same thing here, but he's looking pretty comfortable now up in 11th after starting 22nd, racing for the American Heart Association.
Very fine job indeed. That will be something to be proud of for sure. In fact, I think he's our hardest charger currently of the field. We're still waiting for them to see the lights go out. I know they're already doubled up, but everybody is apparently raring to go. Nobody interested in sitting around and waiting. As now they finally go out just half a mile and will be green flag racing. And again, this is only the middle round of 3. So once they get through here, then they've got the very difficult race at the Chili Bowl. Perhaps one of the toughest of dirt races. It is incredibly tight confines and a very twitchy car. Tasca takes the green flag. Good start for the 23. Challenger almost got threatened by Dance. He's able to cover him off. Much better for Ross Banfield. Steve Driscoll on the low side of Brian Barnes in the number 4. Barnes trying to work that high side. Down below him, Harold Statler takes a bit of a peek, gets the overlap. Statler might be able to move into 6 here. He's going to get underneath the number 4, and if he can get the launch, he won't. He won't have to, actually. The caution is out.
Brian Bennett, we were just talking about him. He finds himself hard into the catch fence.
Jeff Schmeier, unfortunately, with a little bit of contact, and ooh, yeah, he got a second hit from Dean Mole on top of it.
Bennett's still rolling, though, so if he's got a fast repair left, should be all good. You see the replay here, and that 71 on the outside, he just takes a hard lick there. Winds up on his roof temporarily. He gets back going.
Mole in the 31, unfortunately, had no place to go. Really couldn't avoid him, considering he had a car below him. So just tried to woe it up as much as possible. It wasn't enough. Bennett did indeed take, his free repair. Are they gonna, wow, he just snuck by the pace car. Oh my goodness, I thought for sure he was going a lap down there.
Yeah, me too. That was a heck of a job. He just stopped. It didn't even look like he came to a full stop in the pit box, able to get that fast repair.
I'm looking at, yeah.
It comes down to timing and scoring lines. It's always hard to tell on these ovals, of course, where they come out in comparison to the pace car.
Okay, so Bennett is saying that he got the clear from his spotter, but everybody else is asking, weren't you behind the pace car? We saw confirmation on screen. So we might see a penalty here from Bennett. Not sure what that penalty will be. I have not seen this sort of situation before.
It should have closed the end of pit road, so he's going to have to come back in, if anything. There might also be an end of line, not sure.
Yeah, we're kind of half listening to the chatter among the drivers. It's pretty funny listening to Christian Challenger, who is sort of in disbelief that that car went forward. So, and what's funny is that some of them are saying they expect an EOL, which if that's the case, I mean, that's much more desirable than being a lap down. Yeah. So Bennett's going to kind of get away with a sort of a loophole, I think, in the rules.
He's going to be at the end of the line anyway.
Yeah. I think we're going to get lights out this time by still only 2 cars off the lead lap, Josh Wolf and Eric Smith, depending on what sort of penalty we get from Brian Bennett.
And if it's not end of line and he has to come back in, he's going to have to do that under green flag conditions. So if you don't see him follow the pace car here, he seems to be looking pretty good.
So far, leaders easily been able to get away. Christian Challenger, we're not expecting to be able to challenge Pataska on this restart. Indeed, there you go. Easy into the lead for Dallas. Christian Challenger, top 4, all getting single file. Top 5, single file, already got a tip. Multiple cars getting involved. One goes around at the bottom and unfortunately swings back up. That's actually going to send Dean Mole into a barrel roll down the backstretch.
And a huge break for Brian Bennett, who did indeed get a pass-through penalty. He served it, and now he's going to come out and gain spots because of this.
Oh, my goodness. Sometimes the racing gods are with you. And it's Harold Statler is the one that gets turned around. They got 3 wide. And Uldis in the 666 is the one that kind of tips him. From there, take a choice. So you see the 39 getting it back straight forward.
Yeah, it's a tough break. It's a shame. Stadler running so well today.
Boy, this incident with Brian is causing a lot of chatter. Watch the replay one more time. Oh, the 88 really getting a big piece of that. That's Partridge is back out. So what does this do? Statler actually gets sent back to the bubble position, being the first one involved in that. David Baker is in 16th behind him, the first one to meet the chop.
I think Bennett got a bigger penalty because he's being scored now a couple of laps down. So
yeah, I'm seeing that. He's 2 laps behind the leaders.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Josh Wolf now up to 23rd and not giving up. Ryan McGreevy a lap down. Jonathan Bain a lap down. Last car in the lead lap is Ray Partridge in 20th. So 5 cars realistically with a chance to try and sneak through. And we've only got 10 laps to go, 11 laps to go right now. We're going to restart, it looks like, with 9 to go, I think.
That'll be the case if the lights go off here. They're getting doubled up, so looks like that's what the drivers think it is.
Impressive stuff from Riley Thompson and Daniel Stevens. They've both been in for free repairs, and they're in 13th and 14th. In fact, they're the only 2 who have taken their free repairs that look like they're going to get through at the time we're reading this.
You mentioned Harold Stadler as the driver on the bubble. You know, the only reason he's on the bubble is because he kept that car out there, didn't take that fast repair. He's got a very torn up super late model. I have to keep an eye on that.
Will it have enough pace? Okay, got to be 9 to go at the line as the pace car heads into the lane. Green flag is out. Looks like the top 4 have really got this one sussed out. Brian Barnes hung out to dry a little bit. Looks like Driscoll's to his inside. Going to take that desired line away. Get himself into the top 5. He drifts up a little bit. And we've got another caution. Oh, and a second incident. I see the 7 of Bowen involved, Eric Smith. I didn't catch what first brought it out, though.
Well, what first brought it out was just Nick Kuhn getting a little bit sideways. They probably could have kept it green. It's a good thing they didn't, though, because Andy Banfield took a shot here once Kuhn tried to slide back in line. There it is. Oh. The caution.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And not only Banfield, but a big tip around for, that is Shane Bowen in the 7.
You see that a lot on the short track racing. Sometimes just having the caution causes more problems, more carnage than the initial incident does.
So we should be able to get back to green after this one. But if we have another caution, there's no green-white checkers, I'm pretty sure. I think it will essentially end it. So if you're in one of those positions close to 15th, you have desperately got to be keeping yourself above the water line. Nobody wants to get cut out by a poorly timed caution. Question is, how many laps will they have to get to the finish? Track has been continuing to cool. It's about 83 Fahrenheit now on the surface. And realistically, there's about 20 cars that can get through. Bain, McGreevy, Wolf, Bennett, and Smith are all off the lead lap. Waiting for the stewards to see if they're going to say something about a green-white checkers, because we had a question from the drivers, if there was one. Did not see mention of it in the rules coming into this, I have to admit.
Harold Stadler actually gained 3 spots there. We wondered if he was going to be able to have enough pace. He's able to have enough survival skills out there. He gets up to 12th, and now Shane Bowen finds himself on the bubble. Dean Mole, Ray Partridge, Andy Banfield, just a few of the big names behind him, though, still in contention to move on to the Chili Bowl.
Lights are out. We are going racing with 3 laps to go. If they can get 2 green flag laps in without the caution flying, it will finish under green. The caution cannot be thrown after the white flag here in iRacing. Pataska, who's gotten very good at these restarts, is off and going. Green flag is out. They send it down into the first corner. It is Pataska, Challoner, and Dance. First side-by-side is between Banfield and the 777 with Travis Henderson in the number 24. In fact, the only double file that they've got is everybody behind them starts to get single file. Looks like right now David Baker up into 15th. Able to get through if he can just hold out to the finish. Are we going to see a green flag finish? They have 1 corner to go. Pataska sees the white flag. We're finishing under green. He's looking like he could potentially take victory number 2 as Challoner looking at 2 second places so far in these races. As he pointed out, he doesn't need to win. Pataska is the one that's going to claim it here in the second round of the playoffs. Challoner takes second. Dance takes third. Who is going to get through? It's Baker, who finishes 15th.
David Baker, he had some side-by-side racing behind him. That helped him cruise there. He was able to turn off his rearview mirror on the last couple of laps, and he safely gets through to the final round here in the Majors playoffs.
Going to see some celebration as we go through the results, and the 23 burns it down. So, our winner here today, Dallas Pataska over Christian Challoner with 2 second places in a row, and Cameron Dance with his 2nd podium in a row, finishing 3rd. Steve Driscoll with a 4th is ahead of Travis Henderson in P5. Brian Barnes was 6th, and Liam Quinn was 7th. Ross Banfield moving backwards a little bit, but still squeaking through. He finishes in 8th. Uldis in the number 666 finishes 9th, and Riley Thompson manages the top 10.
Jeff Schmier, Ryan Steele, Harold Stadler, Daniel Stevens, and David Baker are all going to get the green light. They have their tickets booked for Tulsa. Shane Bowen, Dean Mole, Ray Partridge, they do not. They finished behind 16th, 17th, 18th. Andy Banfield, Nick Kuhn joined them, rounding out the top 20.
21st was Jonathan Bain and Brian McGreevy's 22nd. Then it's Brian Bennett, Josh Wolf, and Eric Smith rounding out the 25, taking part in this race, round 2 of the Majors playoffs. We've got 15 that are moving on. We're going to be moving on to there soon. We'll take a quick break, but stick around because we hope to have a few interviews before we get to the finale of the Majors playoffs. welcome to the Chili Bowl in a second as we get ready for round 3 in the Majors playoffs. We just watched round 2 at Five Flags Speedway. We've got Christian Challenger back with us yet again. And Christian, completely different nature of racing here in the half-mile short track in Florida. How did you feel about it? You've got 2 second places, so that's got to feel good.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good there. Obviously, like you say, two second places, beat by a different guy this time. No real surprise, to be honest, that when I saw Dallas was going to be restarting third that one time, I pretty much figured he was going to nail me on the restart, and that was going to be the end of it. Really, he'd get past Cam, and I kind of used him to get by into second, and I was pretty content with that. I've got no expectations going into this last one. It would have been nice to have some more green flag running, because historically I've been able to do something a little bit more with the supers when we get into long runs and whatnot. So it's a bit of a shame that we didn't get that, but that car was really fun. I've not driven it for quite a while, and I like that.
Well, it looked fun from our perspective, although it did become something of a caution fest towards the end. We noticed among those cautions, there's quite a bit of discussion among drivers about what was going on with the pace car and cars coming out of pit lane. What's your take on what happened there?
Yeah, so that was because I saw Brian Bennett do something that I knew that I'd had a penalty given to me before earlier in the season at Richmond. What happened was I tried to come down to pit road to get some repairs and get out ahead of the pace car, and I missed it, but I was given my penalty under the yellow, and I was told to drop behind the pace car and drop all the way to the tail end. For him, it was kind of strange. It was like it allowed him to come out ahead, but then I think he had something like a 2-lap stop and go on the green. So it's kind of worked out the same way, just a different application, I guess. But it was interesting to see him do that. I think in hindsight, if he went back and watched it, he would have realized that it was actually better for him to stay out another lap, catch the field, and then come down, and he wouldn't have been so tight on time, and he wouldn't have had the speed, and he wouldn't have got the penalty. But yeah, it was just something that I saw and was kind of intrigued by.
Well, we now head to the Chili Bowl. You said you don't have high expectations. Do you think a top 10 is possible, though? And I can't recall what your charity is. Do you mind reminding us what you've got selected?
I actually didn't select one. I left it open for Mike to pick basically his favorite one. So kind of a lucky dip on that one, I guess. And that'll be up to him. But yeah, for this race, no expectations at all. If I don't crash, hopefully stay in the top 10. That's about it. But people don't seem to be believing me when I say I'm really, really terrible in these cars. And yeah, you'll probably believe me once more at the end of this race. I'll say that. It's not the kind of thing that because you'd think that I'd really enjoy this, because it's obviously a really difficult car with a ton of power, way more power than it needs to have. And it's pretty hard to hang on to, and it's a lot of fun. The problem is that I'm not very good when it comes to dirt racing in the first place. I kind of struggle a little bit to kind of find the exact amount of throttle I need to kind of stay hooked up, but not just spinning the wheels. So that's difficult. I can kind of mask that a little bit in things like the late models, but you really can't mask it in something like this. And it's cool to pop wheelies, but not when it sends you outside the track. So.
Well, here's hoping all 4 stay on the ground, or at least 3 of them. Best of luck in Tulsa, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you a little bit more when this is done.
Thank you.
That was Christian Challenger, 2 second places, and our current America's Region champion. As we are going to be heading over to Tulsa here now. So, with just a moment, we'll be back on the Global SimRacing Channel for round 3 of the Majors playoffs. Stick around. welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to a venue lovingly known as the Chili Bowl. And we've got our round 3 finale of the Majors playoffs getting ready to take place. But before we watch the racing action out on this minuscule little quarter mile, let's run you through our track guide to introduce you.
Welcome to the Chili Bowl. Located at the Tulsa Expo Center in Oklahoma, racers from around the country across multiple disciplines come together to bear witness to what has been dubbed the Super Bowl of midget racing. This quarter mile of indoor track has been playing host to the Chili Bowl since 1987. What makes this place a little unique is the clay that once covered the adjacent fairgrounds is used for the Chili Bowl. This quarter-mile track is not affected by adverse weather or drying from the wind or the sun, allowing the dirt masters every year to work their magic. And when those dirt guys work their magic, the track comes alive. 6 degrees of banking in the tight corners makes so the action is non-stop. You don't have many places to hide, and mistakes can take out several cars very fast. The lower banking really makes drivers lean on every bit of talent and mechanical grip that they can find. Dedication, focus, and even a touch of bravery is the magic recipe to find success around the Chili Bowl. It is quite amazing to sit back and think that one of the best dirt tracks in the nation lies inside a big barn in Oklahoma. The Chili Bowl draws in massive crowds, insane car counts, and the best dirt drivers in the world. This has been our guide to the Chili Bowl. Enjoy the show.
And another wintertime race that we get to hold here appropriately, and the wintertime in the real world. Nick, it's the Chili Bowl.
And it's a fun one. When you mention temporary racetrack in America, most people will go straight to Long Beach or maybe St. Petersburg, but short track fanatics in the country will go to the Chili Bowl when the Tulsa Convention Center rolls in tons of dirt and hundreds of drivers driving these dirt midgets around here. This is a short track in terms of short tracks in America too. It's a 1/5 of a mile around here inside the Tulsa Convention Center. The berm of dirt on the inside is treacherous for these already daunting cars that have, like Christian said, lots and lots of power. You're 3-wheeling it sideways almost constantly around this indoor venue. You know, they have arena racing where I'm from, Allentown, Pennsylvania. This is something a little bit different, something a little bit more extreme. And we're about to see 15 drivers fight for the crown in the Majors playoffs.
It's going to be a tough one. Let's run down the race details as well. The dirt midgets, this is exactly what it sounds like. It's a very, very small sprint car that they are racing in, that a lot of drivers cut their teeth on, in fact, as they work their way through the ranks. It's 50 laps once again, but the laps are going to go even quicker now. It is only 12 seconds per lap. It is fixed setup yet again, and I know it says top 15 to the finals, but it is the top 10 that will get to choose their charity that will get placed for some of the races in 2021. Just got about a minute left here and the warm-up to get going. I've already heard, Nick, some of the banter among the drivers. They jokingly said to Cam during the warm-up, "Nice win."
Yeah, he certainly comes in here the favorite, but you know, I will call Christian Challoner out a little bit. He said he's going to be struggling around here. He said he's going to be just barely fighting for a top 10. He's second quickest right now, only 2/10 off of Dance's lap.
All right, now, but 2/10 around here, that is a monstrous bit of gap for these cars. And you can see just how much they're struggling, and this is without all 15 of them on the circuit. In fact, we've only got 14 that have managed to show up so far. Curious if we'll get the last one out on the track. I'm not sure who we're missing exactly. We'll try and get you updated. Challoner actually just wound up on his lid on the front straight. As I think some of the drivers just having a little bit of fun here in the warm-up in these last couple of seconds.
And pretty easy to do that here in these cars. Pretty easy to pop a wheelie. Sometimes that's the fastest way to get around here.
Don't know how the real drivers manage these things as well as they do. And our pole sitter seems to be missing. Dallas Pataska, which means Challenger will be on the pole. And in fact, let's go through that grid now. Challenger on the pole and Cameron Dance on his outside. This is going to be spicy. Steve Driscoll starts in third with Travis Henderson in fourth. Brian Barnes P5 with Liam Quinn in sixth. Rounding out the first half of the field, Nick, it is Ross Banfield in seventh.
Uldis Puteklis is going to be starting alongside him. On the outside here in 8th place, Riley Thompson and Jeff Schmier will round out the top 10. Ryan Steele and Harold Stadler, they both find themselves towards the back here, row number 6. Row number 7, rounding out just this 14-car field here in the Chili Bowl, it's Daniel Stevens and David Baker in the number 33 car.
I'm glad to see many of the drivers in good spirits, especially after some of the frustrations that they experienced at Five Flags, but there's lots of banter happening between them out here as they wait for the pace lap. We could show you the temperatures around here, but they're mildly pointless. It's indoors, and they will stay the same pretty much the whole race. There you can see it is 51 Fahrenheit. It's actually fairly cold. You know, I don't think I've ever seen a track temperature in the 50s before on iRacing, now that I say that.
It's that quality convention center air conditioning, Joe.
Good point. I suspect pumping all the air in and out, they can't exactly keep it too warm in here in the middle of winter. As we should be going green this time by. Pace truck is in. Challenger has control. Green flag is out, and he is off. Easily able to stay ahead, but only for just the first corner. Out of the second one, get in underneath him. Cameron Dance almost gets ahead. A little bit of bumping and banging between the pair of them. We stay green for the first full lap, and Cameron Dance immediately to the lead.
Now it's Cameron Dance able to get by. It took longer than I expected. A couple of turns there. Had to slam into Challenger to do it. Battle for third place getting good. Travis Henderson, he's having to hold off 3 wide behind him, 4 wide as more contact is made. Now we're going to see our first incident. Steve Driscoll is around, and that's another driver on his roof, Riley Thompson.
Oh, Thompson gets the worst of it, unfortunately. Looks like the melee in front of him, Steve Driscoll, gets turned sideways, and then Riley, you're going to see, yeah, unfortunately pushed forward by the 777 of Ross Banfield.
He's going to have to take that tow. That's a good handful of laps he's going to have to sit out here.
All right, well, that was interesting. Cameron Dance took the lead. Challenger shuffled down into second. Travis Henderson moves up to third from fourth. How about Uldis? He's got himself up to P4 from starting eighth. Who says you can't pass here? Pace car is in. Pace truck, I should say. Green flag is out. Cameron Dance leads the Christian Challenger, following as close behind as he can. Front group very spread apart, and we got a car to the inside. It's Uldis. He cuts the course across the berm. He gets it going once again. It's very lucky. It's easy to spin the car, topple it over doing that. In front of him, Barnes overtaken by Driscoll for fifth.
There's a rally cross jump back there for Nicholas into the barriers, and now Brian Barnes finds himself doing the same thing. He's trying to get that number 4 machine squared in the right direction. They got to be careful. Cameron Dance is going to be catching these guys in a hurry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to get lapped as we got another caution. And, oh, is that Driscoll on his lid? Yes, it is.
Yeah, from 5th place. He was actually closing in on Liam Quinn, trying to make a pass, and ran out of real estate.
Oh, and the 666 unfortunately found him right in his path, along with Jeff Schmeier. The two of them just kind of had to barge through, and this is what turns him over, essentially, because it was just a spin at first. There you see, woo, Uldis himself nearly winding up on his lid.
He got a little bit closer to the ceiling in here than he would have liked.
Already coming back to racing. Here comes our leader, Cameron Dance. Green flag is out. Man, those starts are just like lightning for Dance. Behind him, wow, Quinn managing to sneak by Christian Challoner, who balks at the first turn.
Yeah, Challoner is struggling right now, struggling to keep that thing turned. Now he's got Daniel Stevens sliding in underneath him. Challoner's going to find himself almost in the wall, loses another spot to Brian Barnes. They're almost going to lock their wheels back there as well.
Stevens up to P4 from that one. Banfield's going to try and come back underneath him as Challoner's fighting with Brian Barnes. Brian chopped off at the apex. The 37 sending it sliding into 3, but loses momentum off the corner. This is essentially a battle for P4 amongst many of our midfield.
Yeah, Ross Banfield struggling as well. You can get a big run on the outside, but you lose all your momentum if you're still stuck there on the straightaway. He's finding that out the hard way. He just lost 2 spots to Challoner and Barnes.
So that's Barnes up to 6th with that move. It is still Cameron Dance in the lead. Travis Henderson a ways behind. The track is so short, actually. Our timing and scoring can't keep up. That's why you're not getting gaps currently. Henderson looks to be struggling a little bit as he almost lost control. Meanwhile, this is the battle. Actually, no, excuse me. That's Cam putting a lap down on someone as we got another caution. It's Uldis. Oh, and his kinetic teammate gets into him. Liam Quinn.
Liam Quinn had nowhere to go. Actually, scratch that. He checked up, and Challoner, completely blind to what had happened in front of him, I think turns.
Yeah.
Liam Quinn a little bit, yeah. They'll pile in there.
Uldis, unfortunately, finding the tires a little too grippy on concrete when it catches the wall. And that's Challoner. Yeah, you can see how unsighted he is. Despite how open these cars are, he's it's always hard to tell with all the chaos happening around you exactly what to react to. Look at the track slicking up as well. Already very rubbered in, and on pavement that's good, on dirt that's bad.
Yeah, it takes this track down to a single groove. Pace truck's gonna duck in. Cameron Dance is gonna be away here.
And look at him try to actually kind of avoid that little slicked in line to get started. It's helped him immensely. Behind him, it's a battle for second. Travis Henderson down in front of Baker. Baker turns over Stevens. Stevens goes into the wall on his lid. So what was a great run, potentially looking at a podium, has come to a halt. A lot of cars have parked it in the pits. Thompson, Driscoll, and Uldis are all in there. Stevens now joins. David Baker's a lap down, but we still got 9 drivers on the lead lap.
Just the domino effect there. Started up in second place. The energy, of course, transferred back there to, 4th or 5th place when cars started turning over.
Gotta say, Riley Thompson must be vying for a commentator's position. He pulled a better pun than I could think of on the incident involving both the kinetic drivers. He says there was a lot of kinetic energy there. Well done, Riley.
Too much kinetic energy.
All right, we're going to go racing once again. And it's Cameron Dance ahead of David Baker, who is a lap down. Is he going to try and stay out of the way? Yes, he does. Travis Henderson trying to follow through and catch up to the Kiwi, who has just been dominating here on the dirt side, as many expected. Liam Quinn in third, just ahead of Brian Barnes. Lapped car is doing a great job staying low, staying out of the way.
That's a tough task around here.
There's very little places to hide. So Dance with many car lengths ahead of Travis Henderson. There you see Travis in the red, white, and blue, number 24. We get another caution.
I think this might have been Challoner. He took a ride here. I'm not sure if that's what brought out the caution. I guess
No. Brian Barnes went sideways and parked it. This is Challoner who's going to get it.
You see him get loose there, and he takes a shot over there. He has too much fun.
Yeah, it could have been either one because they were right about the same time.
Yeah, I think it was Barnes because Challoner got back going at full speed.
Yeah, gonna watch Barnes one more time.
Yeah,
It's like he was trying to duck to the inside and just... I've done that plenty of times in this car. You get that little bit of a touch on the right side and the thing just almost screeches to a halt sideways.
Yeah, it's not like a street stock or the new big block modified. You can't quite slide into someone else. These things like to keep that pace going.
Momentum cars. And green flag is out. Not as great of a start from Dance this time. Henderson was paying attention and managed to keep with him. He's got a good second place in his hands. Top three have all singled out. Behind them, all kinds of battling amongst Jeff Schmeier, Christian Challoner, and Harold Statler.
Henderson's looking pretty good in second place. He's getting some big runs on Dance, but he's trying the outside around here. That doesn't quite work for him, at least in this stage of the race. Dance is hooked up on that inside.
Both Challoner and Schmeier just took a leap over the berm once again. I am shocked at how many drivers are managing to survive that maneuver. Of course, we don't know how badly that's hurting the suspension. Look at behind him. David Baker, 3 wide between Barnes and Banfield. And they've got Statler in the mix in the number 39. We're going to get a little bit tangled up. Everybody comes out the other side, but I'm not sure how.
Ross Banfield was completely sideways to the track there. He is still riding strong in 7th place. There's the caution. It's Jeff Schmeier.
It looks like he got a little bit of a tip from the 37, I think. Yeah, just the slightest touch on their way into turn 3.
Challoner just with a little bit too much momentum. He tried to get it slowed up.
Dog Bear car is going to do, what, about a 720, I think, here? Hold on, let's watch this.
Just the slightest of contact. Yep.
Well, he only just takes a small bump to the inside wall. Challoner gave an apology. Obviously unintentional. All right, we're past halfway. And if you're not familiar with dirt racing, these caution laps do not count, which is why we're not farther along. All right, pace truck is in. Dance on the throttle. Ooh, in second place in line, not second place on track, was the 666. He's unfortunately going to hold up Travis Henderson, and in fact gave a little bit of a tap to Challoner, who's back up into third, but Challoner is now the one that gets a bump. He keeps it pointed forward, no caution. He tumbles down the order though.
He is sliding around on the apron right now. He's going to gain spots down there too.
He raced on the apron. He did. I didn't think he could do that, but kudos to the 37, keeping this thing under control. In fact, he's getting back into fourth as he tries to go around the outside of Brian Barnes. Keeps the momentum up. For all his downplaying of himself, Christian Challoner's adapting quite well.
He got around Brian Barnes for a second on the apron. Get that back on the outside. Now Liam Quinn.
Wow.
Slips through somehow between Liam Quinn and the wall right before the caution comes out.
Trying to figure out who caused that one. Must have been somebody just turning sideways.
Yeah, I think just for a slight moment.
Henderson, I think?
Could be.
Looks like we won't be able to find the replay. I'm double checking. Now, Henderson killed the engine. I do know that. That might have been after the caution. He made note of it after that yellow flew. Some of these drivers obviously have the stalling effect turned on. That's something you can turn on and off. The car can either stall or be held in idle, depending on your preference. Sort of hard mode, as some like to call it here on the service. Here we go again. Starting to see a little bit of a bump form. Some cars going over the outside there. Green flag is out. Man, Travis Henderson continuing to improve each restart. Here on lap 33. Oh, another bump there. Stevens turned around by Challoner. Looks like Quinn as well is going to wind up to the inside.
Yeah, Challoner got too hot. He saw a podium in sight. And he tried to do another one of those maneuvers where he squeezed to the outside, but caught Stevens in the wrong spot here.
That snap-on car snapped to the outside and then got it back going. So your current order is Dance, Henderson, Challoner, Quinn, and Barnes. Trying to check on our time because they have a time limit on this event, but I don't think they'll be able to. Yeah, it's 50 minutes. We're definitely not close to those 50 minutes. Love some of the conversations that we've been hearing from the drivers as we get going one more time. Challoner back up to third, trying to chase down Travis Henderson and his rival Cameron Dance. Nobody seems to have anything for the Kiwi. He's taken the lead from almost lap 1 and has not handed it back. As we're on board with Challoner, he went wide in 2 and 3 and 4 rather. Brian Barnes just behind him, unable to try to get to the inside.
These drivers, I think, are starting to get a hang of it around here.
Couple green flag laps now. So we're on lap 36. There's another caution. Is that
This
Stevens again?
Yeah, I think this might be for Stevens. It is. He made contact with Ross Banfield.
And a little bit of an alley-oop and then climbs the sandbags.
He was headed to the garage back there.
Which you can drive in.
Yes.
I love that they did that in this sim. If you want to, you can take a car back there. Now, you can't do anything there. You just drive it up and look around. But it's a nice touch. Stevens now 2 laps down. We're still at 9 cars on the lead lap. Last of those is Jeff Schmeier. And again, the finishing order here for this race is to determine not just the winner with bragging rights, but the top 10 who will be able to determine who gets the charity in our 13 rounds in the main season. Green flag is out. We're on lap 38 now. Dance really just kind of flirting with that inside berm, keeping his front wheel barely touching it. Behind him, a challenge for second as Challoner tries to get the inside, almost 3 wide for a moment. Brian Barnes having to think about things. He's working that low side line, but can't get the power off.
If it weren't for Barnes squeezing Challoner up high, I think he'd have the run way down low. Now Challoner's going to have that room. We'll see if he can get around Henderson. He still finds himself in the middle of the track.
Henderson now's got clear all around, and Jeff Schmeier is our latest car upside down. He's going to get hit by second place on top of it. And he's going to have to take a tow. Car has had enough.
I think Schmeier
He touched the wall
stuck
first.
on the outside wall, yeah. That just kind of flung him into the outside barrier here.
Brings us down to 8 cars left on the lead lap. Oh, and a very hard lick. Yeah, I'd be shocked if his suspension survived that one. That's probably why he took a tow, along with the extra pounding from Challoner and Henderson. So did Henderson get damage from that? We'll find out pretty soon. We're going to be 9 to go when we go green, which should be pretty much this lap, as the pace truck is going to duck into the middle. There it goes. Can we get to the finish? Green flag is out. I'd say that the 24, if he's damaged, it's not hurting him. Oh, and that'll do it, though, as he clips the outside wall. Challoner sees an opportunity. He gets to the inside through 3 and 4. They're going to go side by side through 1 and 2. Down low, Challoner can't find the grip.
Challoner almost had the perfect opportunity handed to him. Now Brian Barnes is behind him. He's got to watch out for that 4 machine trying to steal the podium. Oh, Barnes is going to get on the berm.
So that drops him back. Looks like Harold Statler eyeing something, but we're running out of laps now, and they go by fast here. We're on lap 45. And Cameron Dance is well ahead of Travis Henderson. He has to cruise home to victory after this last caution.
Trying to see who this was. I think it was Schmeier again. He's taken a tow, and he had the exact same problem. Got hooked up on the outside wall. This time he got flung almost completely into the garage area.
He nearly went into the fans. Yeah, thank goodness for some very strong barriers here in the sim world.
There must be a good concession stand out there. He's smelling something good.
I'm not sure what the local delicacy is for Oklahoma, even though I've been through there a few times.
A cup of chili.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go. Thank you. So, 4 more laps. Will they stay under green? If they can get to the white flag, it will finish finally. All right, pace truck is in. Anderson watching. And Dance takes that number 1 out and around. It looks like behind him, Travis Henderson, not with the best start we've seen from him on these restarts. In fact, Christian Challoner, whose nose we're watching from, is giving chase. Oh, but he sends it in a little bit too hot. Here comes Brian Barnes down to his inside, trying to take it away, and we get another caution with only 2 to go.
Daniel Stevens this time. He got into the back of Liam Quinn. Got into the back of him a couple times, actually. That was enough to send him around.
Just enough to trigger the caution flag, unfortunately. Which means they only need to make 1 more lap under green, and then they will be able to get to the end. Because they will not have a caution be thrown on the final lap. As we right on board with our leader, Cameron Dance. A win just across the way from him in Australia when we were in Bathurst. Then a 3rd place down in Florida. Now he's looking for 2 victories out of 3 rounds here at Tulsa. Green flag is out, and he's on it. Challenger's having some real threats from behind as number 4 Barnes nearly got inside of him on that restart. We're at 2 to go. And as they come around, white flag flies. We are going green to the end from here. Cameron Dance just a few seconds from victory and from the overall win for the Majors playoffs. A win in Texas or in Oklahoma clinches it for Cameron Dance. 2nd for Challoner. 3rd for Travis Henderson. Where did he get by on that?
Just on the restart, Henderson got bogged down a little bit. And Challoner made a sweeping pass for second. Great stuff.
Let's watch a replay of that pass. The Texans on the side of his car, and you mentioning Chile just had me thinking Texas and nearly called the wrong state. Nicely done. As the drivers work their way to the garage, but one celebrates out with some traditional midget-style donuts, which has gotta make him dizzy. Hopefully he's not in VR. Oh my, holy cow. Wow. Just impressive stuff.
That's the old, that's the Tilt-A-Whirl. They've got it at the convention center here. They've got that back in the fair.
I think the backspin is certainly going to serve whatever rival crew is fighting this this breakdance battle. But we're going to go through the results here of our finish. Cameron Dance with the win over Christian Challoner. Travis Henderson finishing in third. And Brian Barnes finished in fourth today. Ross Banfield with a P5. How about Harold Statler? Started from 12th and wound up in 6th. And you've got Liam Quinn rounding out the first half of the field in 7th.
Brian Steele and David Baker are going to finish 8th and 9th. Baker, the first driver not to finish on the lead lap. Daniel Stevens with a late race incident puts him in 10th. He's still going to be able to get that charity in there for 2021 here in the majors. Jeff Schmeier found himself in trouble a couple of times, especially here in Tulsa. He finds himself in 11th, 11 laps down. Uldis Puteklis, Steve Driscoll, and Riley Thompson are going to be your last 3 DNFs there, 12th, 13th, and 14th for those drivers.
We'll see if we can get Cam in to chat with us here in a bit. But before we do, I believe we have Christian Challoner ready to talk about his race. And for all the downplaying, I know you had some struggles. We saw a few of them, Christian. But second place ain't too bad.
I'm not going to say that was some struggles. I bounced off a post. I passed somebody with no wheels on the ground on the pit exit road at one point. I expected bad. I did not expect that level of bad, but it was pretty fun, I've got to admit. And it was, I'm sorry to anybody who was involved in any of those. I know, I'm pretty sure I sent Daniel Stevens off into the corner once. I really did not mean to do that. It took pretty much the entire time to figure out how to drive the thing, to be honest with you, because I kept having this idea that if I stood on the brakes, that would actually kind of hook me around, because my very limited dirt experience with late models and things suggests that that happens. But apparently that's not how this thing works. And if you find yourself plowing to the wall, the best thing you can do is actually stand on the throttle. But then if you've already lifted a lot, you'll find yourself popping this mad wheelie that's nearly uncontrollable and going for a bit of an adventure. So yeah, definitely fun though. A crazy thing to race, that's for sure. But yeah, a lot of fun. Sorry to anybody who I did kind of hit. It really, I basically had no control over where my car was going for a vast majority of that race. So hopefully there's no hard feelings and everybody kind of had fun there, because it was actually a fun race.
It looked like a lot of fun from our perspective. Are you going to go to Cam afterwards and ask for a few tips and advice, maybe?
I might. I mean, when I saw how strong he was in the GT race, and obviously he won that, and then picked up the third in the Super Late. I kind of expected Dallas to run this, but seeing that he wasn't here, I don't think I even led a single lap before I just plowed off into the corner and Cam got by, and I was pretty certain that Cam was going to win. So good job by him. He was obviously extremely strong over the course of pretty much his entire time in the Major Series. So good job by him to win the playoffs overall. And I might, if I ever find myself wanting to race this again, then I might send him a message asking how do you actually drive this thing. I did kind of figure it out a little bit at the end, but probably not enough to actually be fast in it.
Right. Well, glad you had a lot of fun. Glad you managed a podium in each round, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon when the majors comes back next season.
Thanks.
As Christian Challoner, second place, as Nick has caught up with the overall winner of the playoffs, and that is Cameron Dance.
Yeah, I sure have, Joe. Cameron, I've got to ask you, I saw recently on the news that breakdancing was going to be in the Olympics. Do you think you can qualify with that burnout?
Oh, my last name's Dance, but I'm a terrible dancer. But they were pretty good done it. So I may or may not have did some practice prior to the actual racing. But no, it was a really, really good overall to come away with the overall win in the end. It looked like it was actually going to be a little bit of a tougher race. I thought there was going to be a little bit more green flag racing, and with the way that we had a little bit less fuel than we probably should have to get home, it was kind of a bit of a fuel saver. But in the end, I actually finished with well more than what I needed in the end. So yeah, it's one of those things about this track. It's quite tight, but provides actually quite a interesting way of driving.
Absolutely. You certainly showed a lot of the dominance we expected you to show out there on the dirt. But talk us through the first two races, Bathurst and Five Flags. Which one of those did you find more challenging, and which one of those did you have the better run in?
Yeah, two races, I actually kind of impressed myself a little bit with Bathurst. I knew I was going to do quite well and was probably going to be on for at least a podium, if not top 5, but ended up winning it with Christian hot on my tail. But yeah, the super late model at Five Flags, I was actually kind of looking at and thinking it was going to be actually a little bit more difficult than it was in the end. But yeah, I came away with P3 in that one, so wasn't not going to complain too much. I thought it was going to be a little bit more down the order, but no, I'll take the position that we got and the overall win at Chili Bowl in the end.
Absolutely, and looks like you have a charity there as well that you're going to be able to get into the majors for 2021. Do you want to give them a shout out here real quick?
Yeah, just shout out to Fight Colorectal Cancer. The team at Fight TRC do an excellent job at helping those that are unfortunate enough to be diagnosed with colorectal cancer and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, props to them. They've been a supporter of our team for quite some time. We've run them on the cars for quite a few years now after a teammate of ours unfortunately had his dad pass away from the disease. But yeah, it's been really, really cool to run the charity on the car and get a really, really good result in the end for them.
Cool stuff. Great cause there, and they will sure be excited to see you with that big burnout here today in the Chili Bowl. Congrats, Cameron, on this win.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Just quick shout out to the boys at TechSense Fitstone Motorsport. They did a heck of a job to end up getting through to all 3 rounds in the end. I know Matt didn't quite have a good race in Sportsman, but Harold did pretty well to have the results that he did to get P5 or P6 in Chili Bowl. So, yeah, props to them and just all our sponsors, TechSense Sensors, Renville Harnesses, Demon Tweaks, obviously Fight CRC, and everybody else for turning up to make it a really, really good night in the end.
Awesome. That's Cameron Dance, overall winner here. He fights his way, his number 1 car up to the overall win, and he gets Fight Colorectal Cancer up in the top step of the podium as well. Joe?
Great stuff. Love how these drivers are fighting for these awesome causes that we've got all over the place now through the majors, which is going to wrap up for the year, sort of. We do have one more MTech round coming up later on, but as far as their various things involved in the championship, the regular majors championship, I believe this wraps it up. So a big thank you to the majors for bringing us on for the coverage of the playoffs this year. And also a thank you goes to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde. If you like her music, we've got her Bandcamp listed right there. Go check it out. And thanks to the team today, Sean, Nick, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also check out our social media, which includes Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, we've got a link to our store NV. It's just gsrc.storenv.com right there in the description below. The next race of the season proper going to be the Daytona 2.4, Sunday, January 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern. But we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. We've already had some short track racing here today, but we're going to have some more. It'll be the Bootleg Racing League's Grand National Series going to South Boston at 9 p.m. Eastern. Until then, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.